What makes or breaks a Dynamics 365 project? Is it the technology, the team, or the timeline? Well, the truth is every successful outcome hinges on one critical phase, which is a rigorous solution design and a fit gap analysis. Well, this isn't just another box to tick or just an IT formality. It's where we draw the blueprint that turns requirements into real business value, safeguards the investment, and sets the path for cost-efficient, future-ready transformation. Well, missing this step, and you risk building a solution that delivers neither value nor longevity. Well, if you nail it, you set your project and your business up for the success. Picture a typical program that rushes into a build without a structured design and fit gap. What could go wrong? Well, the scope can expand quickly. Ad hoc customizations can accumulate over the period of time. Operation costs rise through extra maintenance. The database capacity can go really above the range and then expected, which also leads to unexpected licensing issues. Overprivileged roles, which might lead to security issues, like missing a field protection, something like that. And uncertainty around data retention and consent and data residency, which could slow down the compliance and then really blow the database storage capacity out of the proportion as well. And late decisions due to this can cause rework and which could really slip the schedule and the project timeline. A good fit gap process would have aligned the design to the current and future business objective and not just the legacy steps. We must really identify the true gaps and focus on the fastest path to get the value. Why we should care about this? Number one, cost-effective delivery. Early fit gap prevents unnecessary customization and drive up cost. Have a good design in place, and doing fit gap helps you identify the most cost-efficient way to build and create mutual consensus between the business and IT. Number two, transparency. All gaps have a technical design that's signed off by both customer and delivery team. Every genuine gap is backed up by a customer-agreed technical design that lays out the pros and cons, build complexity, ongoing maintenance, and risk so that stakeholders know what exactly they are approving. This transparency is non-negotiable. Third thing is clarity. Solutions are easier to support and extend with all design choices documented. And the fourth one is risk reduction. It helps to avoid technical debt from unnecessary customization and build future-proof solutions that adapt to business change and Microsoft's product roadmap. It reduces costly rework and avoid extended timelines. In the next few minutes, we're going to see key things like the top things to consider when moving from the requirements to design, key mistakes that undermine project stability, essential tools and methods that we can use immediately to help us with the right design and the fit gap, a practical takeaway checklist to implement in your next project. So let's start with top things to consider while designing and performing the fit gap. And we're going to start with number one, which is key. We're not building the project for the product, but for the business processes, for the business requirements. So the first thing in the top things that we would like to consider is going to be aligning with business process. Design must deliver a genuine business outcome, not just technical features. Map the requirements against real customer journeys and sales and service workflows. Use Dynamics 365 business processes flows as a vehicle for design validation. Ensure requirements reflect how Dynamics 365 natively structure the processes. But the key point here is don't force legacy process into Dynamics 365. Instead, leverage Dynamics 365's optimized workflows and process to cater the business requirements. And number two in our list is going to be starting with the fit to standard and then address the gaps. So fit to standard first, which means we review the standard business process available in the product in Dynamics 365, and we identify which standard process will match your business requirements, then configure the system to match the standard business process wherever possible. This approach reduces the customization by delivering what is required by the configuration itself. And then address the gap. Only after the fit to standard process, we truly identify the gaps between the business needs and the standard Dynamics 365 products. Evaluate whether gaps and add significant business value in the first place, or based on legacy habits. Consider the complexity, cost, and long-term maintenance burden of closing each gap. The benefit of this is reduce the customization complexity and cost, enable faster delivery, not waiting for custom development, of course, and improve solution agility and usability, and simplify ongoing support and business platform updates. Number 3 in our top list to consider is maximizing the out-of-the-box capabilities. Optimizing for value over exactness. If out-of-the-box achieves the outcome, avoid bespoke customization. It's similar to the previous point. Push to use standard Dynamics 365 features, business processes, Power Automates, views, security roles as such. Every customization should clearly state the value and have explicit customer buy-in. As the product keeps evolving rapidly, customization could put into the risk of being replaced by same out-of-the-box feature over the period of time, especially with the range of AI features and capabilities that has been rolled out continuously. It's absolutely necessary to make sure every customizations that we do has been carefully considered and discussed with the right stakeholders. Capturing comprehensive requirements is the next in our list. Collect requirements to capture the entire project roadmap, not just immediate needs. Why this matters? Avoid late-stage surprises that require rework. Design data models and security structures at that scale. And we can plan integrations upfront rather than bolt-on approach. And 5th in our list is defining the security and reporting needs early as possible. Lock the security model early, identify organization hierarchy needs, and plan role-based access control. Determine if field-level security is also required. Also plan for the external portal access if you're going to use the portal. When it comes to reporting, identifying key business metrics and KPIs, determining Power BI dashboard needs and plan for real-time versus historical reporting, and defining data retention for reporting purposes. These things need to be done and planned ahead. And the 6th in our list is going to be documenting the non-functional requirements. Non-functional requirements can be overlooked at times. So non-functional requirements capture elements critical to solution viability that users might not directly request but significantly impact adoption and satisfaction. A common non-functional requirement for Dynamics 365 will be usually availability, where it's expected to serve 99.9% uptime, and scalability, where system must be able to handle n number of users with an n number of records. Data retention, where we need to discuss with the stakeholders and the customers to see what is the data retention archive strategy that we can follow to archive the old records, and also things like audit management. And integration performance, integration latency, throughput expectations, and service protection limits. All these things needs to be considered. And then performance, average screen loading time for internal users should be less than 10 seconds, something like that. And disaster recovery, and then compliance regulatory, like data residency, audit logging, and those kind of things. But why this matters? Performance issues discovered later expensive to fix. Storage constraints from audit and activity data can overrun the systems. Compliance oversights create security risks, and integration failures directly impacts business continuity. So that's why it's key to have those things, non-functional requirements, addressed. And 7th in our list is going to be planning for the data migration and data strategy. Data migration it's a classic, and it's mostly overlooked and underestimated. It's frequently underestimated and definitely consumed from the experiences that I can say that it can consume around 30 to 40% of the project effort in general. Well, the key consideration when we plan for data migration and data strategy is definitely doing the data assessment, analyzing the source data for duplicates, inconsistencies, outdated records, and work with the stakeholders and the customers to see what kind of data cleansing and activity can be done together. And then data mapping, how the documents and how, basically document how the data and fields from the legacy system map to Dynamics 365 tables, and performing data transformations, planning the right data format and conversion and cleansing, data retention strategy, defining which data migrates, which archives, and which can be discarded. And finally, testing and validation, verifying the data accuracy that's been migrated, and field-to-field mapping, it's been verified and validated. There are several migration methods that can be taken, like manual, semi-automated, and fully automated, using tools like Kingsoft, SSIS as such. And in this CDS, we already have, there's a video on the data migration in detail. Please make sure you check it out. The last one in the list is going to be leveraging the reusable patterns and configurability. Build frameworks that turn gaps into reusable solutions. Use patterns for proven design structures. Design data models with extendability in mind. And plan for citizen developer scenarios, especially in Power Platform, where now we have things like makers, citizen developers build Power Apps and Power Automate as such. And document decision points for future customization. So that's all the top things to be considered when we design and we plan for the fit gap. Next in our list, we see what are the key mistakes that we usually make in designing and fit gap analysis. Number one in the list is ignoring non-functional requirements. The non-functional requirements which I was talking about just now, the common trap that we make is to focus on building the features while overlooking the performance, scalability, and maintenance requirements. The impact is that the system becomes slow under normal load, or it can be when your data grows over the period of time, the system can become slow, storage costs can skyrocket, upgrade processes break because customizations are not properly tested, and compliance violations emerge after go live. The fix is to document the performance targets during the design phase itself, and plan for your data retention archival early and reporting early, and security as well, and deliberately factor non-functional requirements into design trade-offs. Number two, the second mistake that we commonly made is underestimating data migration complexity. I can never talk less about data migration. It is the critical phase, that critical component of the project that is most frequently overlooked. So the mistake is treating data migration as a simple move data from A to B. It's not the case. In reality, cleansing takes weeks, field mapping reveals the hidden business logic, volume testing and exposes the performance issues, and cutover timelines slips when migrates aren't stress tested. The standard practice is to allocate 30 to 40% of your project effort to data migration, and start the assessment early, procure necessary licenses, test the scripts with full volumes, and plan multiple cycles, and work hand in hand and closely with the stakeholders, and make sure the mappings are documented, data dictionaries are kept updated as the project evolves. Number third mistake in our list is going to be not planning data retention strategy. The mistake is assuming everything is kept forever is acceptable. In practice, that's not the case. Data storage grows uncontrollably, audit tables bloat, and drives up the cost. System performance degrades under massive record counts, and you risk compliance issues by retaining data longer than regulations allow. The fix is to design data retention policies upfront, define an archive strategy for historical data, and set audit log retention limits, and factor storage cost into total cost of ownership. The fourth in the list is over-customizing for edge cases instead of core needs. The mistake here is building customizations for nice-to-have features while neglecting the core process could waste development effort on low-value work and leaves core functionality incomplete or fragile and builds technical debt. The fix for this is to prioritize requirements by business value. Again, discuss with your stakeholders, discuss with your team, and understand the priority, and challenge every customization. Is it really essential to the core process? And then prefer configuration first. Only then the customization is truly justified, then go for customization. The last mistake in the list is lack of traceable decision logging. The mistake is making design and fit gap decisions without recording the rationale. When teams change, the why we did it is lost. Well, tomorrow when the customer asks why customizations was chosen over the configuration, when the upgrade impacts the force, you have to revisit the years old choices, and we need to have this documented. It can be whatever the documentation tool that you're using, like DevOps or Jira or classic document, but it has to be documented and signed off. The fix is to maintain as basically document these findings and log the decision outputs throughout the project, and documenting the business case for every gap, listing of the pros and cons of the alternatives that's been considered, and make sure the decisions are signed off by stakeholders. With that, we move into the top tools that can be used for design and fit gap. Using standard fit gap and recommend matrix, just a spreadsheet or DevOps or Jira, is the classic, a standard way to track the requirements and perform the fit gap on top of them. And leverage frameworks from Microsoft like Success by Design framework. It provides a structured approach for architecting, validating, and ensuring the technical success for Dynamics 365 and Power Platform solutions throughout the critical design reviews. I personally use things like process taxonomy, which basically gives me a structured way of how to documenting the business processes from top level all the way to the bottom level, and that gives me a bird view of the requirements and how the requirements aligns with the project area. Design diagrams. Common tools like Visio, Miro, and PowerPoint can be effectively used for Dynamics 365 design and architecture diagrams. Visio offers structured processes and architecture visualizations, clarifying requirements and system flows. Miro it's been wide quite frequently these days, which is very handy. Miro enables real-time collaboration, brainstorming, and fit gap workshops, and capturing diverse input quickly and visually. And Power Platform is a classic and simple, which could really helps in transforming the complex technical details and workshop outcomes into a clear, engaging presentation that can drive alignment and decision making with both business and technical stakeholders. We should know when to use these tools, and there can be other tools also, what I just told is some of the examples, and we need to know when to use which of these based on your experience and then your comfortness, and which could help with the navigating the problem with the stakeholders. It's all about communication and capturing the right information, and when we use this interchangeably, we need to make sure that we get those information as required. And then the next one is prototypes and mockups. Nothing confirms a design faster than showing it to the stakeholders and getting it approved. So prototypes done quickly in low-code platform like Power Platform are more effective than lengthy documentation for achieving the stakeholder sign-off. And next thing is also another framework from Microsoft, a Power Platform Will Architecture framework. It helps to use the 5 pillars like cost, effect, security, reliability, and performance deployment to continuously validate your design choices. And then for data migration, you can use simple data import wizard, which is part of the platform, or you could use community tools like XRM Toolbox for smaller and straightforward loads, or it can be a complex data load, for high volume and stage loads like SSIS, along with third-party connectors like Intuisoft, or using Azure Data Factory when you really need, that cloud ETL with complex transformation and orchestration. So finally, you can see in my screen the takeaway checklist that can be used in your projects, and to make sure that we perform the design and the fit gap as required. Well, great solutions aren't built by accident. They are designed with purpose and validated through rigorous fit gap analysis. This process isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous discipline throughout the project lifecycle. By starting with fit to standard analysis, establishing a traceable decision log, and maintaining a focus on business value over technical complexity, your team will deliver implementations that succeed at go live, support future business changes, reduce total cost of ownership, earn customer confidence. Well, again, thanks for joining. With 14 years of experience in technology and as a Microsoft Business Application MVP, I focus on shipping robust Dynamics 365 and Power Platform solutions. Field service solutions is one of my key focus recently, and I've done plenty of data migrations, and I've architected several integrations using Azure Integration Framework. Let's connect on LinkedIn, and feel free to explore my blog post in www.crmindian.com. Thank you.